Bitcoin will likely drop more. In this video, I'm going to be covering macro analysis on why actually on the macro we have a good hopium signal, but in the short term, Bitcoin will likely drop, and that's fueled by the CME gap. I also have a lot of economic news to go through because President Trump decided to make a lot of economic announcements, and we have some comments from Fed governors and some Fed bank governors. It's a bit complicated to understand. But yeah, so we'll go through all of that and much, much more on today's video, guys. I just want to say thank you all so much for all the love on the Ben Cowan interview. It was amazing. If you haven't watched it yet, make sure to go to the card at the top right-hand section to watch it after this video, because honestly, I think if you want macro analysis, like this 45 minutes is enough to cover everything. We went into Bitcoin, altcoins, Bitcoin dominance, Ethereum, just everything you need. So make sure to go to this video and watch it later on and destroy that like button. With that said, guys, if you don't know who I am, I'm CryptoKid. I've been making crypto content for the past 4 years, since I was 14 years old. And I've been in crypto since I was 12. And I'm here to break down Bitcoin and the crypto markets to you, dressed a little bit like John Travolta from Greece. It wasn't intentional, but it just sort of happened. Yeah, so we'll go with it. We'll go with it. Guys, let's go to the weekly time frame and cover the weekly first. Hopium first. And the Hopium is Bitcoin closed its weekly candle above the 54 simple moving average, which is good. That's what we wanted. So we've been predicting Bitcoin to come down to, Bitcoin to bounce from the 54 simple, because it was simultaneously colliding with a lot more support, right? You had the ascending support line on the weekly. You had this downward sloping support line. You had the extreme fear sentiment. So sentiment-wise, you were also technically at support. There was just so many things colliding at this level, even the EMA ribbons. And we knew that we would get some sort of a bounce. We knew that we would get some sort of a bounce, and we are currently seeing that bounce. What is next, though? Well, for what is next, we said that two levels were key. One, the price range between 106.5 to about 107.2, since that is where we have a lot of resistance and also prior support. So we need to get above that level. That was one. And number two, if you wanted to have any sort of ambition on creating a new all-time high, you would have to go over the bull and bear market support band as well, which is currently between 110 to 113.5 thousand dollars. And unless those two lines of resistance or two ranges of resistance are broken, then I would not be anticipating much more bullishness. And I'm saying this, so now the Hopium segment is over. That was it. That was the Hopium. And I'm saying this because when you zoom into the daily time frame, you have a double top. And I'll remove the other drawings so that it doesn't get any more confusing. You have a double top, you have a neckline, and the 107.2 to the 106.5 range, or 6 range, it acts as the neckline of this double top. And currently, we've seen a dip, we've seen a retest to that neckline, and we're getting rejected. And if this rejection continues to below 101K, then I think it's going to signal a further drop and potentially conclude the bull market within itself, which I know is a huge statement, but that's what it looks like. I'm not saying that's what's going to happen at the moment. I think the CME gap, which is at 104.1, will most likely fill either today or tomorrow. And we've given that prediction just a few hours back on the Moonshow channel. There's a Bart Simpson. I don't like how the 1 hourly is looking, so I think we will come down to the 104 quite soon. The key is to get above that 106.4, 106.6, 107.2 range and start heading to the bull and bear market support band to eradicate this scenario. I'm not going to close the existing long positions I have for Bitcoin until, or unless, when, it's going to happen at some point, when the 54 simple is lost and you see two consecutive weekly candles below it. That's also what Ben Cowan said. He mentioned that if you lose the 50 simple, the 54 simple, 2 weeks consecutively, that lines to about $102,000, then you will likely go into a bear market. And that is, guys and girls, the analysis for Bitcoin. Bitcoin dominance looks interesting. We're seeing a slowdown in strong bullish momentum for Bitcoin dominance. And you also have a death cross between the bull and bear market supports and the 54 simple. So in the next few weeks, we could see a shift into altcoin dominance, but that doesn't mean that your altcoins are going to go up. It's probably going to collide with then Bitcoin coming down. So it's just going to be that altcoins in relative to Bitcoin will be coming down less, but most altcoins are facing bear market lows. And that's basically why they can't come down. And I'm gonna go, and because I made this tweet, right? I made this tweet, and I'm just gonna say that does not mean altcoins will start going up. We would ideally need to see BTC at new all-time highs before we can call for alt season again. That's an important disclaimer to give on that chart. I don't want to overly excite anyone for no reason. It doesn't mean that altcoins will go up. It just means that altcoins will bleed less in relative to Bitcoin. And that's because most altcoins are at their bear market lows. Let's cover the breaking news now from President Trump. So first things first, Trump said that after $2,000 payments are distributed to low and middle income Americans using revenue collected from foreign tariffs, any funds will be applied to lowering the national debts. So Trump wants to give away $2,000 from tariffs. I think he wants to do this because there's a lot of pressure from the Supreme Court to block his tariffs, which were initiated from April 2025 to date. And if they do that, they're going to force a refund. But that refund isn't going to be distributed so easily to the average American. So I think what Trump's sort of plan is that he's anticipated the Supreme Court in January could block his tariffs. And if they do, he'll lose that revenue. So maybe to increase his popularity, and this is speculation, he is going to distribute these, and he can distribute it, it's possible. He will distribute $2,000 checks to roughly about 112 million Americans that are classified low and middle income, and he will boost his popularity before the Supreme Court takes away that privilege. Does that mean this is quantitative easing? No. I mean, it's nice, but comparatively to the COVID stimulus checks, which were given in 2020, 2021, to roughly about every American and much more, I mean, it was more than $2,000. Like, it's not enough. It's not enough to make too big of a dent. And the thing is, if you do this, I mean, I would rather just close the national debt instead of give it to Americans, because if you give $2,000 in the short term, you are providing some sort of economic stimuli, but you're creating inflation. You're jeopardizing inflation from going up in the long term. And when the governors are calling for a 50 basis point cut in December, which currently, I mean, that's the most conservative one. Currently, there's 0% chance. And others are saying that inflation is coming closer to 2%. If Trump does this, he could jeopardize inflation coming back to 2%. And that would ultimately delay Fed's rate cuts. And if that is delayed, then quantitative easing gets delayed, and that's what we're really after. So just an FYI on that one. Another a little bit nonsensical decision, I think, that's probably going to be made sometime soon, is the introduction of a 50-year mortgage. Guys and girls, please don't fall into this trap. If you had a $400,000 mortgage to buy a home, a 30-year mortgage at 6% would equal to a payment of monthly $2,400. Your total loan cost is going to be $863,000 at the end of the 30 years. But then obviously, your $400K worth of real estate through monetary debasement, like that would be worth around this or maybe more at the end of the 30 years. It's possible that it's a lot more. All right. So it sort of makes sense. 30 years somehow still makes sense. But if you look at a 50-year mortgage, I know you're paying like $300 less per month. But from the total loan cost being $860K, it ends up being 1.2 million. And maybe in 50 years, yes, this is going to be 1.2 million. But the thing is, like, it's just much more sensible to pay a little bit more per month and have the total loan cost at 860 instead of 1.2 million. It's really not that big of a difference, and it's not going to make millions of Americans suddenly be able to buy homes. So please don't fall into this trap. It's a good marketing gimmick because most people sadly can't do simple math, but don't fall for it. Okay, don't fall for it. It's really not how it seems to be. And finally, quite interestingly, the Chinese central bank is soon about to have more assets than the Federal Reserve of America. And you can see that the Central Bank of China is currently adding more liquidity. And soon we will get quantitative easing. It's just that money getting transferred into cryptocurrencies will take some time, probably like 11 more months. So alt season, yeah, that's getting pushed more and more and more down the line. In my opinion, things can change. And if it does, we're here to update you. So guys, thank you so much for watching. Take care. If you want to look for a place to be trading Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies, check out our partners in the description down below. Pinex giving you a beautiful bonus for their trading bots, and Weeks also 20% deposit bonus. With that said, thank you for watching, and I'll see you all on the next video very soon. Take care, and as always, bye-bye.